those things need to be emphasized more in media, in community. Like, just it needs to be brought to attention a lot more because
that's why you're here.
Yeah,
that's
you know,
what you're here for.
It's such an honor and a privilege because I'm learning so much from just you three, you know, about your father, your grandfather, all the things that he's done, and just from what you guys are telling me, just a larger than life human being that you never even met your grandfather, and he's instilled in you so much. So many principles that you guys just continue to instill in other kids that have nothing besides, you know, going to the gym to do with you, and you guys put the time in to do those things. So,
Brian and Timmy, Big Tim. If you ever want to meet my dad, you have to meet his father because he's a carbon copy.
Let me interrupt you.
Yeah,
I'll embarrass Patrick, but I've said this a million times, Jonathan. I got 6 brothers, right? We all think we have our father in us. But if you've met Patrick and you've met Big Tim, who's not here tonight, you've met my father. And they're the two of them. They're usually interchangeable. They're right next to each other all the time. And I'm jealous sometimes. But they've...
You sound like them.
Yeah, that's all I got, my father's voice. But they got they've captured my father's spirit, and it's all genuine. I'm very proud of both of them.
But they're the guys, Brian, my son, Timmy, his father, Timmy... Megan, Carolyn, they're the ones that
all family
day to day, every single day over there with those kids on the phone all day long, all night with these kids and the trainers and the fights. Like we got the Irish fights coming up. We do a fight once a year with the operating engineers and the local 5 elevator constructors, and it's all union guys that are from our gym, fighters from our gym. They'd fight, and they raise money for disabled veterans that get chairlifts. Like there was a guy last year, he was in the house for I don't know how many years. He couldn't walk. I don't know. He might have had amputated legs or something. I'm not sure, but he was in the house, and he lived in North Philadelphia in a row home with a porch and steps. He could just never get out of the house. He was in a wheelchair. So I was giving out tickets to a couple people, inviting them to this thing, and one woman says, "What's that?" And I explained it to her, and she says, "My father is a veteran, a Vietnam veteran," and she told me the situation. I just said, "What's his address?" So I turned it over to the elevator constructors. The next week, that guy had a lift.
Wow.
To get off it was the first time he was out of the house in years, and all he wanted to do was go get out and get some fresh air. So it's like veterans that they may have been honorable discharge, may have been in the military for 2 years or something, but wasn't service connected or whatever the case may be, aren't entitled to those type of benefits. And so far they did 180.
I think so. I think one of those for a little. I've done like 2 of them through the Carpenters Union, is like on Saturday, on the weekends. I think just one of those things is like 15,000 plus just to get installed at the house.
Yeah, but I mean they have. We've been doing this 3 or 4 years now.
3 years, I think.
Yeah,
3 years. 180 lifts have been installed.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, the a lift for a vet is the foundation.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
But 100% of the proceeds go strictly for that.
That's amazing.
And like it might be a lift up the stairs in the house, they'll do that. It might be a lift to get off the porch. It could be anything along those lines.
Yeah,
a ramps up to the houses, or ramps down the steps just to be able to get up and go out in the yard.
And we didn't see that stuff happening when the gym was started. Like that's all the
Background
peripheral
things,
stuff that came out of this gym.
But like you said, it came out of the gym. That's
dumb luck, God looking over, whatever you want to call it.
I think it's another thing too. It's when people.
But once again, the kids see this.
Yeah.
And you get them to be a part of it.
Yeah, they're part of it.
Part of the community.
They're part of it. They're part of the neighborhood cleanup.
Community events. Kids are always there. Again, Saturday, kids will be there. You get them involved, and it's they take pride. They always stress, like trainers and everybody at the gym. You take pride in your gym. Clean up the gym. You're representing the gym when you're out on the street, when you're wearing a T-shirt, when you're going to the events, and it gives them something to be a part of.
That's another thing too. The kids clean up the gym. Sometimes they don't do a great job, but
sometimes there's water bottles
they
everywhere.
put the effort in.
I mean, I don't do a good job myself, but they clean up the gym.
Yeah.
And but like Kenny said, that's just another offshoot of trying to do a good thing. And people say, well, this is a good gym. They see what they're doing for the kids, and some of the ways they seen what they were doing for the kids, because now some of those kids are part of their organizations. And that's just a wonderful thing to be able to participate in.
That's it. What you guys are doing is amazing. I mean, we're coming towards the end of the podcast, but man, I feel like I could talk to you guys for hours. Honestly,
we can talk for hours.
I'm sure. I mean, I would love to do this. I'd love to do this again.
Glad the rest of the family's not here. You'd never get out.
Just to close it out, if there's like any message you'd like to give to anybody listening who's probably going through a hard time or anything like that, something you probably give to the countless amount of kids that come through the gym, piece of advice from each one of you. I mean,
I don't want to harp on it, end on a depressing subject, but suicide is definitely a big thing. I've never seen it so prevalent as it is lately. And we can talk about the gym. The gym can really help with somebody, but on a bigger picture, I'd like to tell any kid who's listening, don't ever give up. Unfortunately, my kids have had friends that killed themselves. And I remember one time in particular, we're driving home from a funeral for one of my daughter's friends, and I said to my wife, and my daughter was 13, I said, we got to talk about this. I said, I can't let this go without saying something to her. And I told her, Colleen, you're never, and she's not a depressed kid, I'm just trying to make the point as a parent, you're never by yourself. And it's just something Dad used to tell us. As bad as today is, you get up tomorrow, you get another chance to do it over again. And if that sucks, you got another day after that. As long as you keep coming back, you got a chance to get a better day going. So that's a personal note from things I've been through. I don't know if you want to add to that. Or
no, I just say the same thing. Don't ever give up. And one of the things I learned was you're 5 minutes from success. It doesn't matter how bad things are right now. You're 5 minutes from success. All you have to do is hang in there for another 5 minutes.
I think something I've noticed growing up with
such handsome uncles
with my uncle. No, honestly, with my dad, my uncles, great role models. There are people that haven't grown up around that weren't so fortunate. But if you don't have that at home and you notice that, you don't have that in your friends, reach out and try to be a part of something. There's people that are doing other things with just other sports teams or other like rec leagues or something. There's adults that do care, that are doing good things, that are helping kids. And if any kid just try to recognize your surroundings, recognize your home, recognize your friends, and try to be a part of something better, because there's positive people out there and there's positive adults, and there's 100% people that will help you and that want to help you, that people that enjoy helping you, like helping kids every day.
Good job, Timmy. Proud of that kid.
On that, we'll end it on that note. I really appreciate it, guys. Seriously, sitting down in this, like in a piece of history here with some history in front of us, and people coming up, just generations of good things happening. So I'd love to do this again whenever I'm back.
And definitely, I appreciate to see what you're doing. I mean, this is a really cool podcast, and if the message you're trying to get out there is really respectable, and I appreciate to see this.
All right, thank you, guys.
Thank you.
All right, guys, that was the end of that podcast. If you couldn't tell, I am in Philly. I will be in Philly. We're recording this on a Thursday night. I will be releasing it as I do every podcast on Monday. I have a bunch of other podcasts coming out as well, so stay tuned for the next couple of weeks, because we will be releasing podcast interviews as I see fit. This was one of my more, maybe if not the most interesting podcast and favorite podcasts that I've done to date. These guys made me feel at home. This is legit one of the Philliest podcasts ever. If you don't know what the Philadelphia accent is, this is it. The history in the house that we were doing the podcast in, just listening doesn't do it justice. It was an amazing experience, to say the least. I truly hope you guys enjoyed it. And if anyone's listening in the Philadelphia area, I highly encourage you to visit the gym. If you know any kids struggling or going through some stuff, this podcast, if anything, is a testament to how many lives that they're changing and impacting in a positive way. Send those kids their way and help change their lives for the better, is all I could really say. These guys are the epitome of everything this podcast stands for, so I'm glad to have had the honor of getting to speak with them. If you would, and if you would like to get more information about this gym and all that they got going on, be sure to visit jackcostelloboxing.com. You can also check them out on Facebook and Instagram at Jack Costello Boxing Club. I'll be sure to list the links in the show notes. And that's all we really have for today. I hope you guys enjoyed listening as much as I did, because these guys took over the podcast pretty much. I'm not complaining at all. And as always, if you want to give some input, share a story, or simply say hi, you can get in contact with me on Facebook and Instagram at Limelight Highlight. For those of you who tweet, my Twitter handle is LL Highlight. And if you'd like to send an old-fashioned email, I can be reached directly at limelighthhighlight@gmail.com. As I said before, I have a bunch of other podcasts while here in Philly, so stay tuned for the next couple weeks, and I will be releasing them slowly but surely, and I hope you guys enjoyed those as much as you enjoyed this one. And as always, be humble, be helpful, pay it forward, and be the best you. I'll see y'all later. Thanks for listening. Peace.